The thing to understand about building a Prossh deck is that Jund is a very flexible color combination. You can imagine them as a hot yoga teacher or the conscience of your average US senator. And so Prossh decks, like life, are full of many different paths that you can take. And just like life, the one you choose is determined primarily by how broke you are. Let's break it down. First up, if you know exactly how much a McChicken costs, you are a member of the proletariat. You will be ignoring Prossh almost completely in favor of his kobold underlings, as your only hope for survival is glorious revolution. You will achieve this through anthem effects. They are some of the cheapest in the game, and they read, "Give all of my creatures a little bit of a buff." These aren't very impactful on Prossh, because he's already a pretty good size for a bad dragon, but they become very meaningful when you're farting out 6 or more kobolds every single time you cast him. There are a huge number of these effects in the game, and you want every single one you can get your hands on, but some of the most impactful are our boy Roger, because he stands with his people, Graz, because he will make your people his people, and Death Pit Offering, because it will hit our entire board regardless of color after it hits our entire board. Play that card early. There is, however, one card we do care about Prossh for, and that is the Dragon Throne of Tarkir. This is an equipment that allows the equipped creature to buff the rest of your board based on its power. And Prossh is so juicy that it will give your kobolds the strength to beat somebody to death with irony. Building the deck this way has the added benefit of making us more resilient to targeted removal. Prossh is very scary. He's a flying creature that can buff himself to lethal or near lethal commander damage on a moment's notice, so most people are going to be inclined to kill him immediately. But if they do, he goes back to the command zone, and we just have to wait till we have 2 more mana, which we're in green, so that happened a couple days ago, and then we can use him as breeding stock for additional kobolds, which is both a deeply mentally scarring Google search and the exact game plan of the budget build. If they instead focus on removing our various synergy pieces, that will be a problem. We'll be forced to pivot our game plan into a backup strategy of, and let me make sure I have this right, using the fucking dragon, which my extensive study of Shrek lore suggests will be sufficient. Now, there are a couple cheap ways to retrieve creatures from the graveyard by sacrificing others, so we can bring back our synergy pieces after one board wipe. After 2 or more, it's 50 cents a card, man. Just use the fucking dragon. That's the end of the outline for the bargain bin, Prossh. Now next up, if you are comfortable ordering more from the Costco food court than just a hot dog, you can afford to open a sweatshop. It will be staffed exclusively by token makers, and it will make one product, Prossh-shaped ballistic missiles. At this budget level, you can afford to buy things that will give you repeatable sources of tokens, like Scute Swarm, Compy Swarm, Michaeloth, or you can get some of the better one-offs like Song of Totentance. You will feed these to Prossh to make lethal or near-lethal commander damage in one swing, and then do it again the next turn. A larger budget will also unlock everybody's favorite commander subgame, My Dress Up Darling. We can buy some of the classic equipment like the Super Tims, but really we want anything that's going to keep Prossh safe or make him hit harder. One of the most impactful pickups for this deck is the Tarian Soul Cleaver, which will allow you to effectively double up on those kobold sacrifice power boosts and make some of them permanent. We don't just want equipment. We also want to pick up damage amplifiers like Torbrand, or better yet, damage multipliers like Furnace of Wrath, Gratuitous Violence, or City on Fire to get Prossh to lethal that much faster. And if you're picking those up, you may want to lean into another sub-theme I call the Toothpick Shotgun. This involves bringing cards like Impact Tremors or Goblin Bombardment to allow us to turn our kobolds into damage independent of sacrificing them to Prossh, allowing you to really lean into that whole exploiting the working class angle. That's it for the mid-budget build. Now last and morally least, if that line about the McChicken didn't make any sense to you, you're playing Aristocrats. Prossh's cast trigger and instant speed sacrifice ability give him the ability to make and then immediately unmake more little gremlins than a high school prom night, and we're here to capitalize on that. There are tons of moderately expensive synergy pieces that will turn these deaths into cards, money, damage, or life drain. Now, we do still need to make a lot of tokens, so you may have some of the better token makers, and your biggest financial hits are going to come from the contractually obligated doubling season and parallel lives, but damn near everything in the deck is going to cost at least a few dollars, because you want to create a board state that is prepared such that when Prossh arrives, he can immediately sacrifice all his kobolds in such a value-oriented massacre that Jeff Bezos himself would applaud, while completely erect. So there you have it, folks. As your budget increases, you're going to want to move from your kobolds to your commander to murder most foul. Now, I will be posting an entire video for a budget deck list on my YouTube very soon. So if you're not following that, please go subscribe. And remember to stay toxic.